Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to make this twisted turban style headband. This is for adults. So this is going to be done on the circular 48 pin SENTRO. So I'm going to be using a DK weight today. You don't need much. This is probably about 3/4 of a roll, and it was a full roll of let me see the size. So it's 3-ounce ball, and I used about 1/4 of it by Loops and Threads. That's what it is that I'm using today. So this is about 1/4 of it that I used. This is 80 rows, so that's what we're gonna get started with. So we are going to start with waste yarn. So if you don't know how to load, you start by going around this white pin. That's your start and stop point. You're going to go behind the next one, in front of the next one, behind, in front, behind, in front. And don't worry about that binding. It's just because there's nothing in it and we're going slow. So it's just going to do that. So just keep zigzagging back and forward. Take your time so you don't screw anything up, like I just almost did. So when you get back around to the needle before the white pin, the white needle, you should be behind it. So we're going to slip it into our little housing, and I'm going to put it into my medium tension. So that's the middle one. The top one is tight, the bottom one is loose. I'm just using a type of yarn that would work best in medium tension. So I'm going to do 5 rows. I just reset my counter because the first cast on is not going to count as a row. So that's 5. I might be able to go around one more actually, without pushing my luck. So that's 6. I'm just going to take this out. I still got quite a bit. So now I'm going to add my project color, which is this DK light. So it goes down into the carriage. Make sure though it's gonna, that white pin is gonna grab it. And I'm gonna put mine on the tight tension because it is really thin, and I'm gonna reset my counter. So try to keep a decent tail for sewing after. So just make sure, go slow in this round, just make sure your needles are catching your new yarn. So I'm going to do 80 rows. So I ran out of DK. I'm gonna have to finish it with a different color. No big deal. So when you have to switch colors or you have to add more, I don't have another ball to add. I'm just trying to go with the same weight that I'm using, so I'm going to tie these two together. So that's 80. So cut your yarn and leave a tail. Actually, I'm gonna just leave it around this one. And now you're gonna use your waste yarn. And do 5 rows. Make sure your waste yarn is a contrasting color so that you can, you know, see it easier. And just go around, actually just keep going around until it comes off. So I'm gonna let mine go, you'll see, right there. And I'm just gonna keep turning, and it should take itself off the wheel. So once I go around once, so now everything just starts to let go. There we go. I'll meet you at the craft table. So I have a whole mess going on here at my craft table. So you get your stuff out. Now I had to add some white on here that wasn't part of the roll, but for the most part some of that's just going to get sewn into where we're going to sew. So anyway, stretch out your work. So make sure that both your ends are on the side. So that's on the side. And make sure it's not twisted, but you got to make sure this is also on the side. So both ends have to be on the side. So this is over here, this is over here. It makes a big difference if you don't do it that way. So a couple of my stitches dropped when I had first started. That's probably because of this pink yarn. I use it for waste yarn because it's crap. So I'm going to be sewing that part anyway. That's why I wasn't too worried about it. I was just a couple, but I'm going to be, like I said, sewing. So I didn't stop. I didn't try to fix it. I just kept going. This is a number 4G, and I'm going to use to go into this stitch. I'm going to grab this next stitch and I'm going to slip stitch. I'm going to come across, I'm going to grab this. Sorry, I got to turn it. It's hard to get started because it's awkward. And then I'm going to grab this one. This is why we use contrasting waste yarn, so we can find our stitches easier. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to go across and slip stitch, and then grab the other side and slip stitch. Oops. And I'm going to do that all the way down. It's not as awkward as the first stitch, but just really make sure you're getting all your stitches. So it gets a little weird up here. Just trying to find the stitches that you need. There should be one in there. No, guess not. So once you come to the end, you can just pull this guy through here. And that makes a bit of a knot. We'll deal with him later. So now we got to come over to this side and do the same thing. So once you're done, again, just pull this through and pull down. the easy end that we cast it off with. So I'll show you the other end, which is obviously the hard end. I thought this one was the hard end. I should probably write that down. So, oops, I'm pulling on the wrong one. So, that's the easy end. Always keep your waste yarn. Comes in handy. So, I knew I missed a stitch there. So to fix that, we're just going to use our little tail here. You can go into this guy, grab that, and then we're just going to do a single crochet. Keep in mind all this is getting sewn in. Oh, I missed another one. Here, I'm going to go through this one and this one. So all this is getting sewn in, this edge, so it's not that big of a deal, but easy to fix. So now this is the hard part. This is the hard end. Get all my crap out of the way. So this is the end that you need to find this guy. So you need to roll it over because you need to find this bottom. You need to find this bottom stitch and pull. And you're going to do that wherever, but it's always going to be the bottom stitch. So once you do this once around, you can just pull it off at that point. You don't have to do this. And you don't have to do one each stitch. So, but that's how you do it so that you don't end up having to cut it. Just make sure it's the bottom stitch. So I'm almost back around to where I started. And then he's just going to easily pop off after that. One more, and then once you're back around to where this guy is, then you can just pull him off like the other side. Somehow my yarn split around that. That's weird. Okay, so my yarn split, and I don't know how that happened, but no big deal. So that's how you get away with undoing the hard side. And I've got a knot, so I'll deal with that later. So just make sure you didn't miss any stitches like I did on the other side. So you need to figure out which side you're going to sew with. I think I'm going to sew with this side. I don't know if that's long enough. Whatever longer tail. Okay, this tail's longer, so I'm going to sew with this side. So this side gets tucked in. So I'm just going to tuck it all along this edge because I'm sewing these two ends together. So go forwards and backwards so you're weaving. You're not just sticking it through the stitches, you're actually weaving. Nothing like this happens when I'm not on camera. It all happens when I am on camera. So that's my one edge all done. Thing hidden. So this one here, we're going to thread our needle, if I can thread it this time. So now we're going to put these two sides together. So take this side and take this side. So we're not doing this, but we're going to do this. Then you're going to take this side and you're going to lay it over, but you're going to leave a space. Doesn't have to be that big of a space. Leave a finger space. And then we're going to fold this side over, matching with that, leaving a finger space. And then we're going to sew these two ends. So you just need to go through the very top layer. You don't need to go deep. with this. You don't need to do any special stitches either. Just make sure you are going through all 4. So I've got still more tail. I'm going to go back the other way just for extra security. Now notice I'm not whip stitching. I'm just going back and forth just for regular sewing. I am giving a nice snug pull though when I do it. So when I get back around my last stitch, I'm just gonna grab a couple of layers. I'm gonna make a knot, pull back and forth, and that tightens that right down. And then I'm just gonna hide this in between the 2 layers. Hide my tail. Just like that. And then you can take this, turn it around, and voila, your twisted turban style headband. Thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you in the next video.